Well, one of the young guns in the Shaw Race Cars Western region is on the phone, and that is Eston Whisler from the gorgeous and scenic Northern Oregon coast. He's here to talk about his start in racing from cage karts and into IMCA Modifieds and eventually to late models, his plans and his very busy schedule, and more. That's coming up next. But before we get to the interview, make sure wherever you're listening or watching from, you hit the like button and subscribe so that you don't miss out on future episodes. Well, he's joining me on the Beyond the Flags podcast, pilot of the Friesen Performance IMCA Modified number 82 from gorgeous and scenic Otis, Oregon, Eston Whisler. Eston, great to have you on here. Great to talk to you as always.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, going back with you as far as your racing career is, I gotta be one of the first people to kind of see the very, very beginning, because you and your brother Ian started out in cage karts, and that seems like just yesterday that you guys started, but here you are, you're in modifieds now, and then also competing in late models on a regular basis. It's just incredible how fast time goes. We must be having fun.
Oh yeah, Ian and I were just talking about the other day. We're like, holy cow, it's been 12 years since I think I started kart racing. And then I think in mods, it's been since 2018. So I've been mod racing for 6 years now already. So it's, yeah, time's flying.
That's nuts. Well, and when you guys started, well, when you specifically, you started in box stock, right? In 5 horses?
Yep. And then Ian started in Pee-wees. I think we both started around the same time too.
Okay, and that, I mean, I remember Cottage Grove. You raced there a lot until actually just recently. I mean, you guys have ran there a lot over the years. And I'm just trying to think, wintertime, Salem Indoor Speedway, spent some time there, right?
Yep. During the winter there.
Okay, and you guys didn't, I'm trying to think, I don't remember seeing you guys at Roseburg, or did you guys ever make it to Red Bluff for Red Bluff Outlaws?
No, we never had made it all the way down to California. I had ran maybe a race or two at Roseburg, and then my brother had ran a handful of races there in the cage karts, in the 250s and 500s, I think. So,
well, how did that whole conversation go for you specifically? Here you are, you're starting your cage kart career, your racing career. Did you go to your parents and say, hey, this is something I'd like to do, or did they kind of softly approach it with you like, you're getting older now, here's an option for you?
For the cage kart stuff?
Yeah.
So we actually had flat karts. My grandpa here in Otis, we had a flat kart track. Mm-hmm. And honestly, ever since I can remember, well, my dad's been racing and then just been around racing. And I was probably in a flat go-kart around 3. So,
okay.
Yeah, I've just been around it. And then I don't even remember how the conversation went, but I guess next thing I knew, I was in a box stock.
And obviously you climbed the ladder of going from box stocks to eventually the open 500s. And then you get to the age to where you can look at going to the bigger cars. And I guess the question for you is, why an IMCA Modified when, you know, I had known your dad racing for, you know, the long time that I've known him, since like 2006, 2007, he'd always been a late model guy.
Yeah, funny thing is, my dad, one of his good buddies, Mark Carroll, had switched over to mod racing probably right when I was starting mods. He had been in the mod ranks for probably a year or two, and mm-hmm. John Campos is one of my dad's good buddies, and they both had switched from late models to mods, and Mark was selling a modified, and I guess kind of sweet talked my dad into it. My dad ran a mod a time or two and didn't do very good.
Yeah.
And then I was turning 14, kind of just getting out of the open class, and was one of the big kart race, and I guess everything just worked itself out.
Well, what was that experience like for you? You're going from a 500 open cage kart to a full-blown race car with full-grown adults who've got a lot of laps and a lot of experience.
Yeah, modifieds are pretty challenging too. Like, I think my first time in a modified, we went and practiced at Madras, and I probably spun out a handful of times, and it was a good thing that I was just practicing. And then went and ran Cottage Grove, and actually didn't do very bad the first time, but the second race on the last lap, I just smoked the wall. So there was definitely a lot of learning curves along the way.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. But then obviously you guys expanded by racing a lot of different places, especially during COVID, traveling to some different tracks, and since then have raced a lot in the Southwest and obviously here locally, and but also traveling up to Washington a time or two.
Yeah, when COVID first happened, we were able to, just with no school going on, we were able to travel to the Midwest and race a whole bunch over there. And I felt like that was when my racing career kind of took a big step. And when I came back here, it felt like I was a lot more competitive, and we had got a newer car too, and so that definitely helped. And just racing against those guys over in the Midwest, they race over there all the time and racing at different tracks. And so it definitely just helped my racing career.
Well, and I think what's really cool for you guys is your dedication to racing. Back to even when your dad was racing and it was just him, and then throw you and your brother into the mix, is you guys have to travel a long ways no matter where you're going. If it's the closest track or the farthest track, it's still a long ways from home. And I really admire that because, getting to the Oregon coast, it's not like some places on the California coast or some places on the Sound in Washington, or even coastal places in Washington. It's a journey just to get from the valley to the coast, and sometimes those roads are treacherous, windy, and a little dangerous too sometimes.
Yeah, Highway 18 coming back from the racetrack at night at like 2 in the morning is a little sketch, but the closest racetrack for us is probably within 2 hours, being Sunset and Willamette. But yeah, it's just something we love doing, and it's totally worth it for us.
So when you guys go to Sunset, do you guys go up by Tillamook and cut over on, what is that, 6 or 8? Or do you guys go 18 over and then up through Salem, through like McMinnville and Forest Grove?
Yeah, we go up through McMinnville, up 47 that way.
Okay. I will say about 18, it's the route. So if there's people listening that might want to spend some vacationing on an Oregon beach, Lincoln City's great. Well, that's where it's located next to Otis. I feel like it's of the routes, like going to Coos Bay on 42 or going to Reedsport on 38. Those ones are, and the one to Florence, those ones are a little windy and dicey sometimes. Whereas like the 18 one seems to be somewhat smooth and not as crazy curves, crazy altitude changes with hills and all that stuff. I mean, by all means, correct me if I'm wrong. So
no, 18's honestly pretty good. There's just probably like 10 miles between Grand Ronde and Rose Lodge. That's a little sketch, but other than that, 18's pretty smooth. So,
And there's a casino on the way too. There's a casino on the way there, casinos. And there's a casino when you end up in Lincoln City. So, yeah. Well, I mean, it's just like I said, just super cool because you guys got to traverse a lot of it. There's no direct route to any particular racetrack. It's still lots of driving and lots of road time, but no doubt, I mean, in a way, that's kind of nice, I guess. I mean, it sucks, obviously, on paper, but it gives you a chance to kind of just debrief and unfold and just kind of go over everything. Whereas, it's like working at home or doing school at home, right? You're done with the school day, or it was a stressful day, and you're still kind of stuck at home. Whereas if you go off-site or to a campus or to a job, you have kind of that commute to where it's like thinking about what you're going to accomplish for the day, or man, I got that done, or dang, it was a rough day, but this is where I can do better.
Yeah, I'm honestly only just kind of living on the fly. So if it's either school or work, I feel like I'm not very good at planning out things. It's just whatever happens pretty much happens.
Sure.
Flying by the seat of my pants.
Well, let's talk about 2024. Your guys' season started in the Southwest with IMC action, and you actually had a really good outing at Central Arizona Raceway on May 30th, finishing third, and then a really good run at the Rich and Nikki Bean race at Wairika Speedway, finishing fifth. You guys have posted some pretty impressive finishes. A fourth at Douglas County Dirt Track, and last couple of times you were at Cottage Grove, having some top fives too.
Yeah, Mod Nationals last week. Probably had a pretty good shot at winning it, and kind of hurt myself on the last lap. But my car's been pretty good this year, especially in the modified. Trying different things, but my brother has gone into an SDMF car, and he's been super fast, so it's kind of a little rough and competitive. So seeing him faster than me this year's been, I don't know, I've been a little jealous. But overall, we've had speed, just trying things and working on things, and I think we're in the right direction, though. So.
Well, and I got to point out, too, you guys have you specifically have ran a limited schedule with the Modifieds. Didn't make it for all of Speed Week, but when you did, your worst finish was 12th at Cottage Grove. But, I mean, overall, like, with your 14, let's see, what is it? 14 total starts, including late models, but 8 top 10s. I mean, the numbers aren't that bad. I mean, obviously, they're just numbers, but, I mean, I feel like this year's treated you well despite limited outings.
Yeah, and I had ran Botto to start the year, so just making the show there was honestly a big deal for us. And then we ran part of Early Thought. I think I got 4 starts down there, and there's some pretty stiff competition down there. So it hasn't been a bad year, but definitely want to get a win here soon.
Yeah, no doubt. Exactly. Especially when you've been knocking on the door. But obviously this coming weekend at Sunset Speedway Park, it's a place that you've won at, and it's the Whisler Construction Mod Frenzy, and you won the inaugural edition back in 2022.
Yeah, yep. I did, but haven't found really any speed there since. I've kind of struggled there, honestly. But I really enjoy running banks. I feel like it's a technical track, and it's only super fun racing against guys that I don't always get a race against. And it looks like there should be 20-plus cars there this weekend, so it should be fun.
Which is great. I mean, it's a great payday. I know that the sport mods got a lot of notoriety this year with some of the lucrative purses they were going after, but there's still some great money for the modifieds. You know, $7,500 to win at the Northwest Nationals and in Elma last weekend, $2,600 to win Mark Howard Memorial Modified Nationals at Cottage Grove, and this one, I mean, it's up there as one of the highest paying races in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, it's been cool over the last couple of years to see the race grow. I think the first year when I had won, it was $1,500, and then last year I believe Bryson won, and it was $2,000. So it's been cool to see this race grow year over year, and I think even the car count's been growing too. So it's pretty cool.
Well, and especially the time of the year too. And this isn't any poor planning or anything. This isn't a negative comment, but you know, this is the time of the year where kind of cats are sort of ran down and tired. The funds are out, or they're getting ready to go to Super Nationals. And this is a race that's kind of in that early part of August where it's attracting some pretty great cars. I think that's something definitely to note too. Not just good quantity, but great quality.
Yeah, I've kind of noticed I know Willamette might be running Saturday for points, but other than that, I feel like we have everyone that's going to be running in Oregon that should be there. So, and I've seen that there's some Elma guys coming down because there's no race in Washington. So, yeah, there should be a lot of different people from just all over Oregon and Washington. So it's cool.
Are you looking to find that adrenaline rush, but you can't because you're not at the racetrack? Well, check out the IMCA TV Replay subscription library to have access to thousands of hours of racing for just $24.99 a month. Relive all the moments of the Speedway Motors IMCA Super Nationals fueled by Casey's at Boone Speedway, the Harris Clash at Deer Creek Speedway in Spring Valley, Minnesota, the IMCA TV Winter Nationals at Cocopah Speedway in Somerton, Arizona, Florida's Clash on the Coast, and dozens of Speedway Motors IMCA weekly racing program racetracks from across the nation, as well as the IMCA TV Dirtcast podcast. Plus, 25% of that $24.99 monthly fee goes towards the Drivers' Point Fund and is a great way to help out your local racers. In 2023, over $97,000 was paid out to IMCA drivers directly at over 50 racetracks across the country. Please note that live broadcasts are not part of the replay subscription. That's IMCA TV. IMCA TV, where America comes to watch racing. Well, I love numbers, you know that, and I love to know how numbers came about. Your dad was 28. That's kind of that's kind of an obvious sort of the number selection for you. But the number 82, was it just simply a flip flop, or does that Was that kind of making it your own number, but while also keeping it in the family?
Yeah, I just ended up flipping the number when I was younger. I don't know if I know my brother wanted to be 28, and I was like, I better just switch it up, and 82 seemed like the easiest thing to do. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, when you're not working on race cars or you're not thinking about racing, what are some cool stuff that you like to do away from the track or away from the race shop?
I like golfing, going on the lake. I feel like lately we've been working a lot. We just finished our shop apartment, so that's been kind of a process. And honestly, that might be part of the reason why we haven't been racing so much, just with work and working around the shop. So been staying busy though.
So when you say the lake, is that Devil's Lake right there?
Yeah. And we had a house in Lincoln City leading up until last year, and then ended up selling it. So not as much on the lake this year.
Mm-hmm.
Been actually just really busy with work, and then going to Oregon State. So school's been keeping me busy, and that's why part of the reason too, a limited schedule. Just college isn't as flexible as high school. So
sure, lots of life things happening, and that's okay.
Oh yeah.
So, well, the only reason I bring up Devil's Lake is one of the first times I stayed in Lincoln City, like 2018, maybe 19, somewhere around there, is I was flipping through like a little guide or whatever, and it was talking about there used to be like it was like a little amusement park, the Pixieland or something, but there used to be a racetrack also, and it was like, I think it was called Devil's Lake Speedway, like way back in the day. I think I remember talking to your dad about it too.
I do think he was saying there's something. It may have been in the middle of town somewhere. It was gone before I was even born, though. From what I remember, I don't remember there being a speedway near the lake. But
oh yeah, we're talking. It was like gone a time, a long time, probably even before my time. But and not to be confused with Devil's Lake Speedway in Prairie, North Dakota, for those listeners. So different.
Yeah.
But what I thought was really cool too is Lincoln City, the high school. Like I did wrestling, and so we would see the Taft Tigers a lot and everything. I assume they're still called the Tigers, but
yep.
I thought Taft was a school from Portland, and I thought Lincoln High School was Lincoln City, but just the way the name of Taft came there was like 5 or 6 communities, and they voted on what the name of the school would be, and it was called Taft because there was like a little neighborhood community or something like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of all the ones. There's like Ocean Lake, and then Taft is on the south side of town, and that's kind of where the high school is. So I just assume that's honestly where they came up with the name. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, for people that have never been to Lincoln City, I mean, I've been there. It's probably, I mean, that and Florence are probably it's a toss-up between my 2 favorite Oregon coastal cities. There, obviously, you're the tour guide on this one. Some fun things to do, because I know that there's a lot of cool things to do there, whether it's wintertime or whether it's summertime.
Yeah, there's a lot of little small businesses to go to, neat little restaurants. There's kind of in the middle of town, just on 101, there's like a little strip mall, and then there's the mall too. But there's just a lot of little stores to go to. And then if you're a golfer like me, you got Chinook Winds on the north side of town, and then Salishan if you're a little nicer and trying to spend money. You got Salishan, which is a super nice course, and then obviously the beach too. So I feel like there's tons to do if you're a tourist and aren't from around town.
Well, and then Chinook Winds, that golf course, is that a part of the casino and hotel resort there too?
Yep. Yeah. The Chinook Winds casino owns the golf course.
Nice. Yeah.
Yep.
It's great. I've stayed at some Airbnbs there. Gosh, I'm trying to think. I've stayed at a hotel there too, right on the ocean, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah, and there's hikes to do too. There's a hike on the north side of Roseland. I think it's called God's Thumb, which is a super cool hike to do at like sunset hours.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
It overlooks the ocean. So,
and we can't overlook literally the town of Otis either. I mean, there's some night. It's a couple miles inland and everything. So
yeah, there's this gas station and pretty much a at a weed store.
Okay, I was thinking there was like a barbecue joint or something. I can't remember.
So the Otis Cafe used to be there, and then it burnt down a couple years ago, and then it's still called the Otis Cafe, but it's on the south side of Lincoln City now.
Okay.
Yeah. So the building's still partially there, but I don't know. There's something weird going on where they can't like completely tear it down. I don't even know.
It's condemned, but
yeah.
undemolishable. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just barely standing there.
Sure. Well, plans for you guys this year? Are you just going to kind of stick local, and once university's starting up here pretty soon, just kind of focus that in your studies, or you're going to try and maybe get a trip to I mean, obviously Super Nationals would be cool to see you out there in Boone.
Yeah, we've always kind of talked about doing Super Nationals. I don't know if this year will be the year, but next year I'll be a senior, and my classes should be a little bit more flexible. So maybe next year. But after this weekend, there's the I-5 race down in Medford, which I think is a Friday, Saturday show, and then there's also modifieds down there too. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember what the mod race is called Saturday, but I think it's a bigger race. And
the Rayburn.
We'll see.
Bruce Rayburn.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bruce Rayburn Classic, I think is what it is. And we'll see how this weekend goes, but I think my dad was talking about wanting to run there next weekend, so we'll see.
Okay.
And then before school starts, I don't go back to the end of September, so I think right when I'm about to start the Drive to Survive 55 race up in Skagit, and ran there the last 2 years, and I think we'll be running there again this year too. So
awesome. Well, it's
other than that,
other
than that, we don't have really full on schedules. We kind of just plan week by week. So
sure, that's totally understandable. Here's a life lesson for you. It's not going to change when you get older. So. Yeah. No, working for my dad, it's hard to plan out anything. We've been pretty busy, so. Mm-hmm. That's good though. Busy's good.
Yeah. Yep. No, it's good to stay busy. So work first and then play later.
No doubt. Well, it's always great to get a chance to chat with you, Eston. This has been a wonderful interview. Before I let you go, people that you want to thank that have made your career possible, or sponsors and marketing partners that have made this year possible?
My mom and my dad, my brother too. He honestly, even though he can be a pain in the butt sometimes, he's a big help. Meredith Lodging, RK Concrete, Knotworks Construction, Otis Market and Fueling, U.S. Market, and then just everyone else who helps me at the pits, Matthew Drager, Jared. I just appreciate everyone's help. So,
well, we appreciate you coming on and taking time out of your busy schedule, and wish you the best of luck this Saturday at Sunset Speedway Park and beyond, and really going to be looking forward to watching how your career unfolds and where it takes you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it should be a good one this weekend, and I think it's on Durable TV if you can't be there. So,
well, race fans, that does it for this interview. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope that you continue to enjoy these upcoming interviews. We appreciate it if you would like and subscribe wherever you're listening, whether it's on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, wherever it's at. Give us a like and give us a subscription so that we can deliver more of these great interviews to you for your listening pleasure. In the meantime, wherever we're at, wherever you're listening, we hope you have a great rest of your day and a pleasant evening, and we will see you soon here at Highside Racing Promotions.